Rest in peace, Hong Kong. It might sound like an over-the-top thing to say, but according to people who call the city home, the once thriving hub of Asia is now all but dead. And they blame the heavy-handed tactics of Beijing. The Chinese regime has imposed a strict security law, which not only strips Hong Kong of its autonomy, but also severely restricts democratic freedoms. Anyone breaking the law faces life imprisonment. The Draconian takeover has been condemned around the world, but that's only strengthening the resolve of the increasingly belligerent Chinese leadership. Over the past year of turmoil in Hong Kong, democracy activist Nathan Law has got used to looking over his shoulder, being careful about what he does and where he goes, but never quite like this. Forced to find refuge in a foreign country, he has no idea of when he might return, or whether he is being watched by the communist regime. You are very much in hiding at the moment. Are you scared of being tracked down?
Well, of course, we understand how far China could reach. And for now, because there are so many uncertainties, I prefer not to reveal my location in order to really protect my personal safety.
Do you really believe that China can be that clandestine?
I receive a lot of personal threats. So these kind of threatening messages happened before.
At the age of 26, Nathan is known around the world as one of Hong Kong's leading democracy activists.
We will not be deterred by a law.
A movement now splintered by the sweeping new security law that makes it a crime to undermine China's authority, raising fears of trumped-up charges, secret trials, and activists slammed away for life in mainland Chinese jails.
We used to think Hong Kong is a safe harbor. No matter how corrupted mainland China is, you could always enjoy the protection of law in Hong Kong. But this is no longer the case.
I mean, you could potentially face a breach and life in prison just by doing this interview, just by talking to us, couldn't you?
Yes, indeed. That is how the national security law is written. It covers anyone in the world, regardless of your nationality and your whereabouts.
In an instant, Hong Kong's reputation as a glittering global business hub has been severely tarnished. No one expects the money coursing through this city's veins to dry up anytime soon. But Hong Kong, as we know it, has changed forever.
I don't believe that without the rule of law and the protection of freedom, Hong Kong will survive like it was before. It is impossible.
And you think that by killing the concept of trust in Hong Kong, the Communist Party kills the essence of your city?
Definitely. When you kill the rule of law, you kill the trust.
Jimmy Lai is a rebel with a cause. An outspoken media tycoon who's devoted his life and his billions to the struggle for democracy. You have always said that one day the Communist Party would grow tired of Hong Kong's freedom. Has that day finally arrived?
That's finally arrived. They're having a very effective effect on us, very effective intimidation on us. People are very scared. Slowly, they find it more and more difficult to conduct the business and even live their life. Eventually, they will have to leave.
Through the new law, the Hong Kong government and its communist overlords are out to crush more than a year of demonstrations and civil unrest.
They're going.
A protest movement sparked, ironically, by fears that Hong Kong's freedoms were under siege. Last year, at the end of a sweltering summer of discontent, we found ourselves in the middle of the battle to protect Hong Kong's way of life.
You've got to ask yourself, how much longer can the Chinese government allow this to happen? There has to be some sort of breaking point.
It's clear that point has now been reached.
I make no apologies for supporting my country's national security law. But if people continue to, just abide by the law and not do things that endanger national security, very few people will come to any harm at all.
For Regina Ip, it's a moment to savour. The pro-Beijing MP, they call Hong Kong's Iron Lady, is happy that China's steely resolve has finally won the day.
I think the new law certainly has sufficient deterrent effects. So I think we're going to see the end of the riots and the chaos which shook Hong Kong in the past year.
That's the way you put it, a sufficient deterrent effect. That's an interesting choice of phrase. How can you be proud of a law that takes away someone's freedom of expression?
It hasn't taken away anybody's freedom of expression yet,
Hong Kong's protesters would beg to differ. Hundreds of arrests have already been made. China's crackdown means the simplest of acts can now be viewed as a criminal offence. Let me just ask you a straight question, a very simple question. Is holding a pro-independence banner in a public place subversion? Yes or no?
I cannot give a simple answer to that because, as the lawyers say, it depends on a mixture of law and facts. It's not for me to pass that sort of judgment. It's for our lawyers and our judges to decide.
Lawyers and judges, where? In Hong Kong or in China? Because the Chinese courts haven't got a very good reputation for letting people off.
We're talking about Hong Kong. We're talking about Hong Kong. The great majority of cases will be dealt with in Hong Kong. I think you shouldn't rush to
the great majority?
Yeah, great majority.
How many would that be? I pity the poor minority.
I think it's too early, premature to pass any judgment.
For now, at least, this is the bland new face of protest in Hong Kong. Pro-democracy slogans exchanged for blank pieces of paper to avoid any grounds for arrest.
Under the law, our freedom of expression are completely destroyed. And from now on, Hong Kong people have to be very fluid, to be more creative and subtle when they protest. But at the end of the day, I think Hong Kong's protest is still pretty much alive. So I think Hong Kong people now, they are still resisting. But under the new norm, we have to adopt different strategy.
Unable to return for fear of being arrested, Nathan Law is now faced with a life in exile. He's one of many activists who feel they've no choice but to flee.
What lies ahead is a very oppressive regime, basically destroying our freedom, the Hong Kong we used to know, and we have to make very difficult choice in order to sustain our movement.
The crackdown has led to warnings from our own government that Australians in Hong Kong should reconsider their need to stay. A move pro-Beijing MP Regina Ip sees as ridiculous.
There is no need for Australians who are here just to do business or to have fun or to enjoy themselves to worry about this law.
So when our Prime Minister says that Australians may be at an increased risk of detention, You think he's what, overreacting?
I think he is overreacting.
We have also moved to suspend our extradition treaty with your country, your administration. That's a vote of no confidence in what you're doing, Mrs. Ip.
If Australia continues to adopt this skeptical attitude without looking at the facts, I think Australian government will only stand to lose the benefits of law enforcement cooperation with Hong Kong.
With its people at the mercy of secret police and surveillance, Hong Kong's autonomy is seriously in question. And few are being watched as closely as Jimmy Lai. He's well aware that his criticism of Beijing now risks serious trouble, but he's refusing to be silenced.
People say that, if you guys behave, we wouldn't have to come to this. Well, if this is true, today, the world will not have democracy. The world will not have freedom. We have freedom today and democracy because our ancestors has been fighting for it. Many people died for it. Much blood was shed for it. It can't stop just here.
The prospect of spending the rest of your life in jail, perhaps in a Chinese prison, wouldn't exactly thrill you.
Well, I'm not going to think about this. I'm not going to think about things that scares me. I'm staying here. I'm staying here till the end. If we go down together. We burn together. That's my promise to my people.
Hello, I'm Liam Bartlett. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.